Hi, I'm Vareen, a curious explorer of the intricate landscape of the human mind and behaviors, and you're now listening to the Ink Thoughts podcast, where I unravel the mysteries behind the incongruous thoughts that pepper our everyday existence. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ink Thoughts podcast. Hope everyone has been doing well. So today, let's try to explore something that touches a lot of us, I believe, especially those of us who are driven to success, the fear of mediocrity. Now, mediocrity is a word that often makes people feel uncomfortable. We live in a world that glorifies excellence and achievement, so the idea of being just average can feel like a nightmare. But why? Why are we so afraid of it? And what does it mean to be mediocre? And more importantly, how do we cope with the fear of it? I recently read it across somewhere, so that's why I've been trying to take some time to reflect on myself too. So, first thing first, what is the fear of mediocrity? The fear of mediocrity isn't just a simple fear of being just average. It's deeper than that. It's the anxiety that we'll live our lives without making an impact, without standing out, without leaving a mark in the world that we're living in. For some, this fear can be a driving force, pushing us to go the extra mile, to chase after bigger goals, and to refuse to settle for anything less than the best. But for others, it can become paralyzing, making us doubt our worth if we are not constantly excelling or breaking records. You can think about it like the relationship with stress, if that makes it easier. When there's too much stress, you get into the state of being so miserable. Nothing feels right for you, it's just too much. But if you're at that optimum level, you get to utilize its power and do things even better. And now, let's face it, in today's hyper-competitive world, as the bar for success keeps rising, we're bombarded with stories of people achieving greatness at younger ages, of entrepreneurs launching million-dollar companies before they're 30, of athletes breaking world records at a younger age. It can make us feel like we're not doing enough, no matter how hard we try. But here's the thing. What does enough even mean? Why do we let this fear take so much hold on us? So now, leading us to the next point, which is, where does this fear comes from? There are a few key places this fear could stem from. The most obvious one, probably everyone could think about now, is the society standards. We're conditioned from a young age to chase after success. We are told that the top grades, the best job, the fastest time, or the biggest achievements are what matter most. Whether it's in school, sports, or our careers, the message is often the same. Be the best, or risk being forgotten. And then it leads us to the comparison culture. Social media has amplified our fear of mediocrity. Every day, we see the highlight reels of other people's lives, making it seem like everyone else is doing something extraordinary while we're stuck in our routine. This constant comparison can heighten our fear that we are not living up to some unspoken standard of success. Now, this is a trait that probably underlies this fear of mediocrity, which is perfectionism. For those who are perfectionists, the fear of mediocrity can be even more intense. They often feel that if they are not perfect, they have failed. The idea of being just good enough doesn't sit well with them. But that mindset can be draining and self-destructive. It's basically the black and white mindset, like it's either you're very good at something or you're just nothing. Now, let's give it a thought. Is mediocrity really that terrible? I know it sounds very counterintuitive to everything we've been taught since young, but if you try to stripe away the negative connotations, mediocrity is simply about being in the middle, being average, and in most cases, average just means normal. We can't be exceptional at everything, even though I believe most of us would love to if we can, but we are just human beings. We have strengths and weaknesses. And we have to allow that there are areas in our lives that we are just not that good, but that doesn't mean that you're not good enough. And think about it. Do you want to live every moment of your life on a high pressure treadmill, always reaching for the next goal? Or is it okay to just let go of certain areas of your life that, isn't thriving that well and focus on those that you're really, really good at and make it the best? Now, after all this reflection, how to actually handle our fear of mediocrity? One of the most important things is to redefine success. Success doesn't have to mean being the best at all times. It can mean finding joy in what you do, making progress, or even just being content with where you are. Define success on your own terms. Have you ever experienced those moments where you've achieved something really great that people have always been talking about, but you don't feel as content as you thought you would do when you achieved it? That is probably a sign that actually that so-called success isn't in alignment with your values. That is why it is important to define success in our own terms. And our definition of success might change over time with the impact of life experiences and knowledge for certain things. So it is okay to redefine from time to time if you think you need to. There is no point chasing after the so-called success that you actually don't even appreciate and mean nothing to you at the end of the day. Now, focus on what you can control. The fear of mediocrity often stems from external pressure. But remember, you control your effort, your attitude, and your choices. You don't control how others perceive you or the results of every action you take. Let go of what's out of your hands. Well, I'm not a fan of giving things up. What I wanted to relay here is look at those things that are within your control and try your very best at doing them. When you've given your best, those that are out of your control, you will be able to let them be. And when you focus on what you can do with your best instead of those that are out of your control, you might actually find that you always ended up noticing that actually everything kind of worked well at the end of the day. It might probably be due to you not spending your precious energy and time worrying after things that are out of your control, but utilizing those time and energy to really work as hard as possible for those that are within your control. Now, it's important to stop comparing. I know it's easier said than done, but comparison is a thief of joy. Someone else's success doesn't diminish your worth. Focus on your own path, not how it stacks up to others. Here comes the tips that I've recently tried on myself. For some reasons, I noticed that I felt so anxious or ended up feeling unhappy after I scrolled through Instagram for a while a few weeks ago. That was when I decided that, you know what, I'll give it a pause now. I know I'll still need it for my podcast, so I decided that I'll only open it to post about things related to podcasts and I'll close the app after I'm done with it. And guess what? It actually worked. I felt a lot more at peace with myself and focused more on myself instead. And yesterday when I reopened the app, I noticed the anxiety is no longer there. And even when I saw how amazing others' life is, I'm still appreciating my own life too, in different ways. Something that has been recently mentioned by a lot of people, which is embrace growth, not perfection. Instead of aiming for perfection, aim for growth. Understand that life is a journey, and progress happens over time. You're not supposed to and probably wouldn't be able to have everything figured out today. One mindset that I've been trying to cultivate into my life lately is be 1% better than yesterday. As long as I'm making progress, then it's fine. There will definitely be days that your progress is more than 1%, but it is okay for certain days that you're caught up with some challenges that you can't make much progress as you intend to, but at least you have that 1% at the end of the day. And most importantly, lastly, find meaning in the small things. Not every achievement has to be monumental. Sometimes small personal victories, like learning a new skill, helping a friend, or even just taking care of yourself, can be just as meaningful as the big moments. And that means celebrate all your small wins. It doesn't only make you feel good and empowered, but it is actually a drive for you to move further while appreciating yourself and all your efforts. I actually have an episode a few months ago talking about small wins. If you're interested, feel free to check it out. So There you have it, the fear of mediocrity. It's real, it's heavy, but it's possible to be manageable. The key is to recognize that we all have our own timelines, our own definitions of success, and our ways of making an impact to the world. And sometimes it's okay to just be enough and enjoy the process. Thanks for tuning in today's episode. Remember, greatness isn't always about standing out. Sometimes it's just about being true to yourself. Until next time, stay curious and keep growing. Take care. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast. If you enjoyed it, do like and share it with your friends and family and drop me a comment on YouTube. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave me a review. If you're on Spotify, please rate my show. Alternatively, any questions or feedback, feel free to email me at hello@incthoughts.com or send me a private message on Instagram, Facebook or Twitter with the username of IncThoughtspod. Thanks again and catch you all next week.